Now, today I'm working with the Greenwood Tarot deck by Mark Ryan and Cheska Potter. And I'm also kind of wrapping it up with an angel tarot card that I'm selecting from Doreen Virtue and Radley Valentine to kind of give you some advice or words of encouragement going through, the next couple weeks or so. Okay. The card on the bottom of the deck is the Guardian. And the Guardian's an interesting figure. The Guardian is kind of the cave bear, or the remains of a cave bear, who stands at the cave of memories and our past. And he kind of guards that. And he really has to do with going deep within and learning our life's lessons, healing from our pains, healing from our hurts, and being able to overcome past negativity, learning the lessons from the past, releasing negativity from the past, things we could or could not control at the time, and really doing a lot of that work. For some of you, just glancing at the cards, it does seem like some of you may be in that process of reflection and mourning and so forth. I know that the Aquarius is the opposite sign of Leo, and Pisces is the opposite of Virgo. So you're kind of at your half year right now, as we are in Virgo right now. So for some of you, it may be that you're doing that kind of reflection piece. You're sort of at the center point of your personal wheel of the year and trying to figure out what you're going to do for the remainder. We're also in that harvest cycle right now. And as we are going into the dead of winter, there will be even greater reflection, most likely for you. Most of us, when we approach our birthday, we're looking at the reflection of our previous year and taking away the lessons from that so that we can set our intentions for our brand new year to start. So some of you may have begun that reflection a little bit early. And that's very natural for you at this half point on your wheel. Covering you is this celebration energy. Four of Wands is wonderful. In some decks, it represents a wedding, but it can simply be that we've got a lot of harvest festivals going on, a lot of summertime fun, friends getting together, going out on the boat, corn and strawberry festival's way over. Cherry season, is passing behind us. We've got a lot of corn and tomatoes ripening right now, and fresh fruits and vegetables, all kinds of greenery. So this really is a wonderful time of year for that. Crossing you right now, in spite of the Guardian and in our, sometimes we have fears of looking within, is this breath of life. There's a part of you that really does feel invigorated and rejoicing, and you're full of intent and purpose. Ace of Arrows is about air. Right? It's the element of air. So it does have to do with intellectual things, communications, thoughts, success and victory in things, but breathing new life in a project. Maybe there's something that you put down, like a book that you were working on, or some sort of a project in some way, and that you're going to feel that resurgence, maybe get some new ideas and come back to that project. Or maybe you're going to begin a new project, but that's part of that. Sometimes people get that kind of inspiration this time of year because they're already thinking about, over the winter, they're crocheting and knitting the family, a bunch of things, or whatever that is that you do, that's your personal interest. But definitely, you've kind of had that, you're kind of getting a little spring in your step, I would say, with some things, in spite of the reflection. Behind you, I'm kind of going a little bit out of sequence right now, is the Seven of Cups, the Morning card. In some decks, the Seven of Cups is about choices. But let's not forget that when we do make a choice between a bunch of different things, it means that we have to let go of the 6 other cups that we cannot accept at this time. So there is a sense of loss that comes from that. Not necessarily even a big, huge sense of loss. But then again, for those of you that have been in this Guardian energy and been really reflecting on past relationships, family members, friends, ex-lovers, what have you, letting go can be very, very difficult. Mourning can also be that sense of a harvest in a way, right? We have our own personal type of harvest. But this is, you're coming out of that phase and you're really feeling the breath of life now. And remember, life is given so much more context and meaning and purpose because things die, and we have that awareness of that. So some of you may have suffered a loss of a family member, a friend, somebody that you're close to, or a phase of life, or a relationship, or something along those lines. And that may be what that card is reflecting. Or simply the pain of making that choice and saying, there are all those choices I was unable to make at the same time. Now, crowning you, we have the Three of Arrows card, which is a jealousy card. So for some of you, it may be that, there's a little bit of jealousy going on, some kind of a third-party situation or a perception of a third-party situation. Beneath you, we have the Ace of Cups. The Ace of Cups is about new love, whether that's a love for what you're doing or a love for a person. I kind of think it may be the case that some of you are getting involved in a new relationship, and part of you is living in some kind of worry or fear. So be mindful of that. How much of that is real and how much of that is not, right? You do want to be very, very careful. Third-party situations, not fun. But in that position, it could be what's on your mind. It doesn't necessarily have to be what is, in fact, going to happen. We kind of need to let the plot out a little bit more. We may have more clarification in the mid-month reading that I do later, too. Hard to say. But it does look like, along with this breath of life, you may have met somebody who's, is a breath of fresh air for you, and that you're feeling some kind of love and so on. And Pisces can be a very, very romantic suit. Being water signs yourself, you tend to be very in touch with your emotions and good with that. You are leaving something from your past behind you, but there is that element of jealousy that could be there. So be very, very careful. Be careful that you're investing wisely into this person or persons or what have you. This Two of Wands in your future has to do with making a decision, right? You're looking out, you're surveying the situation, and you have to make some kind of a decision. I think for some of you, it's a head and heart decision. Your hesitation may have to do with, is this player energy right here? What's that all about? If this is player energy, do I really want to get involved with that, even though I like how he or she makes me feel? Is that enough? Is that what I really want right now? Some of you may have met a person at a festival or through friends, celebrating around the bonfire, at the beer garden, at, whatever kind of event was going on. And you're in a place where you're ready to fall in love and so on. And, is that in your best interest right now to do? Not really all that sure. Not really sure. I kind of want to stop by the King of Stones right now. King of Stones would be the earth element. That would be your Taurus, Virgo, or Capricorn, potentially. Although I don't generally read reverse in this particular deck, the book isn't even set up to discuss it. In the reverse position, though, it did come out that way. I put it down upright. But I think for some of you, it could be this King of Stones might be the kind of a player energy in your environment. So again, be very careful here. Your jealousy that you might be feeling up here could in fact be intuition warning you off of something. Now, it's difficult to tell really, but we have a final outcome card that I'll get to in a little bit here that makes me kind of concerned that some of you might be having a summer fling, and that's okay if you know how to contextualize it. However, now in the upright, this King of Stones person, this Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, potentially, or somebody in that energy, could actually be good, solid sound energy. There's a lot of movement in that, however, being a horse. So it has to do with solid. It has to do with work and travel and communication and, all these kinds of benefits and so forth. But I think for some of you, it may bring some heartache with it. And this is going to be the crux of your decision making is, can I take it as it is, or do I need to clear the way for a more steady type of relationship to come in? Now, the card representing you also wanted to come out in the reverse. It's the Page of Cups, which is not surprising whatsoever, in that Cups being a water sign, that's a Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces, such as yourself. The kingfisher is a very beautiful bird. They are a deep diver. They dive down for fish and so on in the water. And you'll notice that right here, the kingfisher has in his bill, or her bill, has a fish in the cup. So this is a solid offer. I feel like you are making a solid offer in a relationship, a beginning, a brand new beginning in love. But I think that with our horse reversed here, that you may be peddling your fish in the wrong market, I guess, to complete the metaphor. Some of you may be engaged in somebody who's not going to be solid for you. And that's a little bit worrisome. Hopes and fears. You have your Page of Wands here, represented by the Stoat. On the one hand, this could be positive. The Wands could be a fire sign, right? Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. A new beginning, a communication of an action that is coming in. The potential for a new family. You see there's a baby, stoat. Stoat is related to weasel, however. So I think some of you may be fearing some weaselly energy from somebody, like some manipulation, some shifty type thoughts and behaviors. And I question if that's the case, that maybe your jealousy or your third party, the thought that a third party is on your mind could be intuition that's coming into bear here. Your final outcome card here is Six of Stones. And the Six of Stones in this deck is exploitation, right? That has to do with someone taking advantage of you. And I think that may be what you're kind of fearing, is that you're feeling all kinds of way. You've got the Ace of Arrows, you've got the breath of life and the waters of life coming on, right? You're feeling all of this beauty in relationship here. You're this Kingfisher person, right? But the Kingfisher is actually, there's a story behind the Kingfisher that has to do with doomed love. And the person fell in love with some god's daughter, and then he was turned into a Kingfisher kind of as a punishment. And remained true. This was a true love person. But here you have this exploitation in your final. I almost feel like it's a party for one, in a sense. And, I don't mean to be a bummer or something like that with that. But some of you need to be very, very careful, right? You've been through this before. That's why this guardian at the cave is there and present. And I have to point out that the ancestor that's right underneath the guardian at the bottom of the deck is suggesting that you have been through all of this before. I think this person may be a karmic lesson for you. And how you decide what your decision winds up to be has everything to do with whether or not that Six of Stones exploitation is going to come to pass. Because note that anything that says it's in your future does not have to come to pass. It really does depend on you. Now, if you want to step back from that and say, no, that's okay, we're not in a monogamous relationship or whatever, then that's on you. If you feel that you can do that and not get hurt, that's on you. But know yourself, because that is a very, a lot of people that I've met have fooled themselves into believing that it's not going to bother them, that person's playing with other people at the same time. And know who you are if you want to get into that, friends with benefits situation, because people do get hurt that way. And they put themselves through a lot of grief. But this to me says you've been through some of this before. You're already spotting the signs. I think that's why that Three of Arrows jealousy card is up. And so just be mindful of that. I don't think that this would be coming up if you were one of those that was okay with just having a casual fling with somebody, a friend with benefits with somebody that was playing around with other people. So whatever it is that you choose to do, be very, very careful that you're being respectful of yourself and your own needs. Again, this Kingfisher here can indicate, that you're trying to set forward a relationship that is a spiritually fulfilling love relationship. You're trying to make a solid offer with somebody who may, in fact, be galloping about town and be some kind of a player and not really willing to invest. So could be a fire sign, could be a earth sign, depending on, of course, who you're with. And then again, it could just be the energy there. Some people come off as very passionate and very awesome. They're exciting. I mean, we do see a lot of excitement here with your aces, your Ace of Arrows. You're intellectually attracted to this person. Ace of Cups, you're very physically and romantically attracted to that person. With all of that coming in, this celebration, this Four of Wands, that speaks to me of sexual passion as well. So you really might be thinking that you're hitting a soulmate here, but I'm not convinced that for many of you it may not be that way. However, let me quit killing your buzz, so to speak, and shuffle these angel tarot cards and see if we can't figure out what's going on with that. Maybe get some advice from our angel friends and helpers that are here today with us, and see if there's some wisdom or guidance or some kind of a suggestion that they can make, for you, Pisces. All right. Let's see. And I will read from the book for these. And this card is the Four of Earth. Okay. So this card can be extremes. It may be a cautionary message to take care of your resources. Perhaps it's time to create a savings account or review your spending habits. It's also possible that you're too financially conservative. Additionally, this is a message to donate time or money to charities or worthy causes. Your hard work is paying off, but stay alert to new possibilities. Change is inevitable and can bring newfound sources of abundance. Be open to new and exciting opportunities. Don't let fear-based thoughts limit your actions. Additional meanings of this card: good business decisions or investments, large purchases, penny pinching, and fears that what you've accumulated will be lost. This is interesting because I had been reading this more as a romantic relationship, but it really could be seen as being the beginning of a new business opportunity, maybe like a job. For some of you, it may be that this decision has to do with which job you're going to be choosing. And you may be feeling fired up and have this new energy to put into something. You may even be celebrating a job offer coming in. And there may be a sense of loss as you're leaving your old job or your old company, right? This could be you excited about your new start, and dealing with that environment. There is the final outcome card of exploitation, so be wary of a boss, potentially a male boss, who is not maybe what he seems to be, and maybe not generous and benevolent and working out for you in your positivity, but kind of more of an exploitative bent. So if this is a new job and so on, it can be a positive opportunity, but be sure that you make your decision well, because this may not be the stopping point for you or your final job in your lifetime, but it may be maybe a stepping stone to something else in the future.